And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100% agree. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
All right, here we go. It is episode 151. If there's something you need to know about not even the UFC could come through with episode 151. That fight got taken away. It got buried. There, you go and look it up. You won't even find a UFC 151 because they couldn't handle the pressure of doing it. But Josh Thompson and myself with Gian on the controls because podcast Dave is on the road. He's moving to Texas. We are back, and we want to apologize for our horrible sound on the last show. Yes, we knew about it, but it came down to the point of we either put it out or we didn't put out a show at all, so we try to give you something, even though we gave your ears a lot of pain. So we apologize for that, but this one will be much better. We promise, and we got a lot of good things to talk about. So, Joshua Thompson with that beanie on. What's up, beanie boy? How you doing, baby?
We both decided no hats anymore, so I came prepared for it with a beanie.
Look at I don't put it in a beanie, you some bitch. I need a hat.
Oh, man. It's just so hard at 5 in the morning to run out of your house and be like, you know what, I'm not doing my hair. And I don't want to just throw a hat on. I was like, forget it, man. Just a beanie. So, yeah, look, I know John already said it, but we want to apologize for the audio malfunctions we had, last show. That being said, a lot of you guys reached out to us on Twitter, especially myself, and you said, hey, if you guys were going to mess up on one show, I'm glad it was the talk about Logan and Jake Paul.
Love that.
A lot of the show was about those guys signing with Showtime and those guys and who potentially they may fight, if they're going to fight MMA, blah, blah, blah. And we just want to thank you guys for continuing to follow us, subscribe to us, and all those other issues, as well as I noticed that our audio platforms and listens have gone up. We normally, are in the 15 to 20,000 range for people listening on the audios. They jumped up beyond that, which is actually very nice. I'm very happy. I'm glad you guys are listening to us, and we're asking you guys to subscribe to our audios, iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, all those platforms as well. So we want to thank you guys for that. Also, it is the weekend, Memorial Day weekend. So please, one thing I want to say, please don't drink and drive. I just had one of my members lost his son, he's 13 years old, in a drinking driving accident. Someone got on the freeway the wrong way. And I want to please do not drink and drive. Enjoy your weekend. Celebrate the memory of our troops. And I want to thank you guys. Please also go to prowrestlingtees.com/weighing in. Use the promo code and still get a Memorial Day weekend shirt. Camouflage. It says thank you on it, Memorial Day, as well as the American flag. We want to thank you guys for supporting us, and we've seen the uptick in purchases have gone up as well. So thank you guys for that. Hey, stick with us. We're getting there. We're right there. I think we're at 99.9, I think is what we're at now. So probably only about 50 new subscribers or something like that. We need to get to 100,000.
That's because everyone went to their Uncle Goober.
We want to thank you guys. So from the bottom of our heart, we really do appreciate it. We're almost at that biggest milestone, and we would thank you guys for being fans and listening to us. Gion's going to be here right now running the news for us. So, John, let's get into some news. What you got for us there? Gian. I'm not going to call you Podcast Gian. You haven't deserved that title yet, so I'll just call you Gian, okay?
First one is Michael Venom Paige shows interest on joining the UFC while still being under contract with Bellator.
Yep. Look, this kind of hits home with us, you and I. It's a kind of a smart look. It's a smart play a little bit, but not a smart play. Like, if you speak like that and you've been with the promotion for as long as you have and they've kind of helped build you up as much as they can. But it is a smart play because I believe his contract's coming up here shortly, and he is 34 years old, and we've said for the longest time that he needs to start stepping up to fight proper, a little bit tougher competition. The one person that he fought was the toughest competition was Douglas Lima. He has had good performances against very tough fighters. He made the Derek Anderson fight look good. People don't realize how good Derek Anderson is. Now, technically, he's not very sound, but he is a dog. He's somebody that just walks forward. If I was to compare him against somebody, I'd probably say like a Diego Sanchez. I mean, if I was going to compare Derek Anderson, like someone, like I would say kind of like that. Like someone that just
MVP. I was like,
no. I was talking about Derek Anderson. No, I was talking about Derek Anderson. Someone who, like, you hit him, he wants to hit you back. He throws caution to the wind and just starts throwing down. That's his style of fighting. So if I was going to compare, and you guys are thinking like, oh, the most current Diego Sanchez. That is not what I'm talking about. Like a guy who just throughout his career has always been a dog, just always wanted to fight, throw down, and get after it. That would be to me a comparison to Derek Anderson fighting MVP. MVP. It really comes down to this could be a little bit of a money play. This could also piss off the promotion, Showtime, Scott Coker, everything. But I mean, realistically, at 34 years old, have at it, man. You're going to fight. I don't know. I'm hearing that he might be next in line after the Amosov and Lima fight, that he might be next in line to fight for the title. I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, I mean, those comments probably won't make it go over any better. And if he does go, the only fight that I've ever wanted to see him fight in the UFC was the Stephen Thompson fight. You know, to me, that was the biggest fight that I wanted to see. I wanted to see that. Like, look, I'm here. I'm a nerd when it comes to this type of stuff. John is too. No matter what he tells you, he's a freaking nerd.
I'm a nerd.
Okay? Oh, he's a nerd. So when
Fight
it
nerd.
comes down to, like, fights that we want to see, now, don't get me wrong. I think if I was to match him up against guys like Usman, I think he'd have a very hard time. You know, he'd have extremely hard time. Colby Covington, hard time. The wrestling pedigree is there, you know? Like those things. I think Colby would be, I think, maybe a little bit easier of a fight for him. Doesn't mean that he would stop it. But I'm saying that being there. Like Colby's, I think, a little bit more hittable, which we've seen and proven by Usman. Is he a little bit more hittable? Usman has gotten so much better.
Also doesn't have
with his head movement as well as throwing off the head movement and those positions. So I don't know. Look, the speed and the reach and the length and all those things play a factor every single time. And in MVP, I'm going to still continue to give him credit. He's still as good as I think he is. He does pose threats for a lot of people because of his style and his body style and all of those things as well. But like he's always going to have a hard time with wrestlers. That's not his style. So that's and in that division over in the UFC, that's what they do. I would love to see an MVP and George Masvidal fight. That would be a fun fight as well.
Ooh.
So yeah, I mean, I'm throw a little wrench in there, or maybe even a Nate Diaz fight.
There's nothing wrong. You got to let's take this whole thing in its context. First off, he was on some show with some English guy that he said made that comment, and that English guy works for the UFC. So, you know, let's be honest. You know, he's on Believe You Me. He's on there with Mike and Louis, and he should say, yeah, I would like to test. He said, I would love to test myself in the UFC. Why would he not want to? That's a righteous, you know, statement. I know he would like to, because he would like to fight the very best people he can fight, and that's, you know, the smart thing to say. Does that mean that he's going to be going to the UFC? No. You know, could he be? Yes. You know, you don't know, and he does have a contract negotiation, I believe, coming up. I think he's got one or two fights. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
But you take a look and you go, if you're the fighter, and you know, we are here, and most of the time we back up the fighters. Sometimes we back up the promoters, but most of the time we back up the fighters, because I want the fighters to make as much money as they can, because they have a limited amount of time to make that money. And you know, I don't care what promotion they're in. If Michael Venom Paige can go to the UFC and make more money and have a better career, go. That's just the way it is. If he can do that with Bellator, stay. You know, that's up to him and his management. But for him to say that, you know, I would love to test myself, I think it's the absolute right statement. It's the right mindset, and that's the way it should be. I would have been disappointed if he had said something different. I would have said, what the fuck's he talking about? You say you don't want to fucking challenge those guys too? Of course if you're a real fighter, you want to challenge those people. So I saw nothing wrong. You know, that people make stuff out of things that there's really nothing there, because it's, you know, it's like, you know, when John Jones says, you know, just release me. Okay. Nothing really there, because they're not going to do that. You know, it's just, you look and you go, okay, you can put it out in the media. The media can have it. It doesn't matter. It's not something that's reality, as far as, well, they're not going to just release him, and the UFC is going to always be there. It's always going to have a great welterweight division that MVP, I think, would fit very well into. But he fits very well into the welterweight division of Bellator. He does want a certain fight back, and there's only one place he can get that fight back. That's Bellator. So maybe if Douglas Lima, you know, he fights Amosov in this next show, if he gets past Amosov, which is not an easy thing to do since no one has done it yet, you know, maybe that rematch will occur. Then we'll find out what MVP really wants, because does MVP want to go with a guy like Yaroslav Amosov? who not only is good on the feet, but has great wrestling, has a great ground game. We're going to find out exactly where Michael's at. So I see nothing wrong with anything he said.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact. You know what? Here's the thing: is even when I was with Strikeforce, and I think other fighters as well, you got to continue to remember that. For me, I feel like going to the UFC is not where. For me, it was never about going to the UFC. It was when I first started. Don't get me wrong. I think everyone back in 2000 it was. But once I'd already been there, I was like, okay, look, why don't those guys just come to us? And that's why I sometimes feel like. I get the star power. I get the feeling of being in the UFC. That whole thing. And if people want to experience it, I understand completely. And but I'm like, why not tell those fighters, hey, let's come over here? And that's the biggest thing. And I would say that regardless. And I would be saying that too with Eddie and those guys and Demetrius. Like if they want to come get this smoke, they can come over here as well. Like I don't need to go chasing after these fighters. Depending on who you are. Eddie and Demetrius have already proven that they're some of the top guys in the world. MVP, I feel like he has. Lima definitely has. There's guys that I know, like Yaroslav Amosov, I definitely think he has as well. So that fight right there, like I was saying with MVP, that fight, Yaroslav Amosov and Lima, the winner of that is going to be a very tough fight for him. And there's no guarantees that Lima's going to win this fight.
No, there is not.
There's just
and that's
no
what makes
guarantees.
it such a great fight. Being one of the best welterweights in the world, right up there with anybody. I don't care what people want to say. He is a dangerous, mean bitch that's got vicious leg kicks. He's got a great ground game. He's good everywhere, but his stand-up as far as how much power he puts on things, dangerous at any moment of the fight. That's what happened to MVP when he fought him. You made one mistake, say goodbye.
Yeah, that's true. All right, next question, John.
Holloway versus Rodriguez is set for July 17.
I think they're trying to get rid of Yair.
I think they're tired.
They're trying to get rid of this kid.
I think they're tired of him.
I mean,
something has happened again.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably pissed them off. So remember, he got that suspension. They took him out of the rankings for a little bit. I don't know if he's in the rankings now. Is he?
Let me see.
I don't think he is. I don't think he's in the rankings right now.
Which will tell you, why are they putting him against Holloway if he's not in the rankings?
Well, because remember, he was ranked like number 4 or something like that. Just
I know that.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, I don't
know.
But
if you take a look, why are they putting a guy that's unranked against Max Holloway? Holloway's sitting where? 1?
Well, he does deserve to be in those top rankings.
Oh, he's actually number 3.
Oh, he is number 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so they put him back in.
Yep.
Yeah, so they put him back in. He's ranked number 3.
That makes sense then.
He gonna catch all the smoke. If we see a Max Holloway that fought what's his name?
Calvin.
Yes, Calvin Kattar. Oh gosh, it's gonna be a nasty night for him. I don't see how. I mean, especially if there's any takedowns or any of that. Yeah, anybody. I think if Max shows up again like he did against Calvin, and and that's the thing. Yair, he's good with his kicks. He's good at all those things. He's good at changing up the range. He'll kick the legs, kick to the body, spinning heel kicks, all those. He'll do everything flashy. He does things from weird angles, ask Korean Zombie, all of those positions. But listen, remember, he was down 5-0 to Korean Zombie until the 1 second bell. Okay, I mean, like,
I don't know.
Had Zombie
just 5-0? I don't think so.
He was.
But
yeah, no,
he was losing. He was losing.
I think one judge had him down 5-0. He was losing that round also. Yeah, I think they had him down 5-0. Which I thought he actually won one of the earlier rounds.
Yeah,
I want to say maybe 1 or 2. But regardless, he was still down by, let's say
it was a great fight.
It was. I mean, Zombie was picking him apart. But I'm not and everyone knows this, you guys. Look, I'm not a fan of Yair Rodriguez. I have not been a fan of him since he pulled
We're just going to put up a list. We're going to put a list of who Josh is not a fan.
The list is not long. Not
long, but distinguished.
There's Michael Chandler and there's Yair, and I think it's the two of them, and that's pretty much the rest of the whole crew. I mean, that's it. That's pretty much all that I don't really get along with.
It's not a list. That's a subtitle.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, like, and I can't even say I don't get along with Yair. I just don't like the antics that he pulls. I mean, dude, you're wasting your prime being the way you are. I never said he wasn't a dynamite fighter. I think he's phenomenal fighter.
Very talented.
Look, you can still think that John Jones is a phenomenal fighter and not like what he does outside of the business. Like, that's just how it works. I know a lot of people can agree with that. And that's how I feel about Yair, is when he had that issue with the UFC, and then he tried to go and, fight other promotions, didn't like it, and then he ran back to the UFC with his tail between his legs. That kind of was like, man, yeah, you're kind of that's a little soft to me. I just think that if you're gonna talk big and then you decide to leave, don't come running back. Now they just know you're a whipping boy. Like you can't do that. They're just gonna do whatever they want. They're gonna whip on you and just continue to do what they're doing. So, anyways, I think it's a great fight. It's gonna be a fun fight. I think it'll be fun. I don't see Yair beating him. I think Max, if he shows up and fights, very similar to the way he fought last time, I'd say even if he fought 80% of what he did last time, I think he smokes him. Probably even finishes him.
I agree with you. That's a hard style fight for Yair as far as just the way Max approaches the fight, his length, the way that he uses his footwork, his in and out. He's gonna create a lot of problems for Yair because Yair can go to the ground, but he's not going to do anything on the ground with Max. So it's more of so you're trying to slow the fight down. You're trying to let time go by. You're not trying to win it. You're trying, as far as finishing him, you're trying to win it by time going by. So
Yeah,
just that's a hard matchup. If I look at that one, that's a tough matchup, but you never know, man. That's why it's a fight game. We can look at it one way, and then all of a sudden they come out and perform, and you go, well, we were wrong.
Yeah. All right, what else you got for us, Gian?
Next one is Paige Vanzant versus Rachel Ostovich, part 2, but this time it's going to be in Bare Knuckle FC.
John, should be fun.
I love that one. Did you see her I want to say her Instagram post or her thing?
Which one? Who?
Paige.
Oh, Paige.
Paige put a thing. Come for the boobies, stay for the violence.
Hey, I
Paige,
ain't mad at her for.
I got to tell you, I love that one.
I love
That's awesome. Man, okay, now hold it. If you're not bare knuckle boxing, and you're Dave Feldman, do you not use that line? I know people are going to get, the women are going to get mad and stuff, but your fighter's the one that said it.
Yeah, I think you use it. Come for the boobies, stay for the violence.
For the boobies,
that's fucking brilliant, man. Brilliant.
It's awesome.
You can't be mad
it's
at
a great line.
Oh, I think it's brilliant. And I had never really hung around Paige at all, but I had a couple of split seconds to talk to her this 2 weeks ago when Austin fought against Fabian Edwards, her husband, and it was hilarious. She seems to be like a little bundle of joy. She's very talkative, but fun, and it was fun to be around. I can see where she comes up with this stuff. Like if you follow them on social media, man, they're hilarious. Their stuff, like their nude photos and stuff, are just so funny. How they block a little bit of everything. Whatever, man. I ain't knocking them. Like, hey, I think most people that get bitter about shit like that, guess what? They're probably with the girl they can't do shit like that with. That's their problem. They're just jealous. They wish they had a girl that would be that open about doing stupid shit like that and having fun. They don't have kids. They're just living their lives, doing whatever the fuck they're doing. I think it's wonderful. I think it's
so. You're
great.
saying if they have kids, that changes it. You got to do something different.
Yeah. I think once you have
look
kids,
at you.
Yeah, I think once you have kids, you might want to take that off, buddy. You might want to take that photo down, not let your kids see that shit. All right, buddy. What else? You think that's gonna be a good fight?
I think it'll be action packed. I think that again, you have to learn. And I talked to Paige when I saw her, talked to her about the rules of bare knuckle boxing and what she needs to look at, and I think just being there longer, you can't fight it like it's MMA as far as, even your stand-up game. It's got to be different. Your angles are different. The way you hold is different. Your clinch work is different. You can hit off of the clinch. There's all kinds of things that boxing. My biggest problem with bare knuckle boxing is that damn officials do not understand the rules and what is allowed for the fighter to do and how long they should let something go with it. But she needs to, I think she has an advantage over Rachel in it based upon she's done it already. And it's a big difference.
It is. Yeah, I think the same thing. I think Rachel, the reality check is she's going to come in and be like, wow, that's a lot faster paced than I thought. The rules are a little bit different. Clinching the head and being able to dirty box. Those are all things that you can do. You can pummel inside and start doing angles.
Standing different.
Yeah, the other thing is, Rachel, I want to say it was her last fight. She was standing quite a bit. I don't know what happened, if she broke her hand or something happened anyways. But she was trying to strike the whole time, and she was only throwing like 2 1s and 2s. There was never a 3. It was like either the big overhand right or it was like just one jab. Or it was, you got to throw combinations. It's in the bare knuckle boxing position, you got to be throwing the combinations, clinching the head, and dirty boxing, getting yourself out and then throwing again.
Going to the body.
You've got to make it. You got to make it a dog fight a little bit in there, and she was content, I think, in her last MMA fight. I know they're different sports, but she just was only throwing 1s and 2 punches. She needs to she needs to be able to throw 3s and 4s and possibly even 5s in this bare knuckle boxing. So I don't know. Like you said, a lot of it's going to come down to it's her first time, and there's going to be, I think, a little bit of a rally check. And Paige found out that too in her first fight. So
yeah, absolutely,
it should be a fun fight though. But I do like that little headline though: "Come for the boobies, stay for the fight, or stay for the violence." Stay
for the violence.
What else?
Awesome.
What else you got?
Next one is John Jones hired boxing promoter Richard Shafer as his advisor.
Look, I'm going to be honest. Richard Shafer's, like you said, we were talking about this off air before we started filming, is that he's a brilliant man. He's very brilliant. If you look at the De La Hoya Golden Boy promotion, it all fell apart when Richard left. Richard was part of that organization, and and it was on the rise, doing well. And him and De La Hoya had some falling outs and some beefs or whatever, and he took off. And when he took off, that shit started fucking sinking like the fucking Titanic, And basically, that's why De La Hoya now he's not fighting on his own promotion. He's fucking trying to fight in Triller. That should let you know how much of a businessman De La Hoya is. Not very smart, not very bright, but whatever, man. I think if John wants to use him as a consultant. You said this though, but pay-per-view is pretty much dead. So is he consulting on maybe doing some app stuff also, or hitting some different? I don't know how he's gonna. Pay-per-view is kind of like John has never really broke $1 million. I think one or two times he's broke $1 million pay-per-view buys. So I don't know how they're gonna plan on boosting this up and how to market it. But the other thing too is the UFC's got to want to market him that way to make it more valuable for them to make more money. And with their ESPN deal, I don't think they really give a shit. We're getting paid no matter what. So that's why they say, like, I don't know when John's going to fight. I'm going to move on and carry on without him. John's 33, 34 years old, and we're okay with doing that. You're going to start seeing more of that. So some of these fighters that are 33 and 34, they expect them to start saying, yeah, it's time for you to go. Like, we don't care. You want more money? See you later. So, I mean, Dana came out the other day and said, I'm looking for a replacement, like a backup fighter for Conor. That lets you know, like, hey, we can move on. The show's going to move on. Whether Conor fights or not, or whether John Jones fights or not. And that's been the story of the UFC, and that's what's always been great about it. I think, honestly, they're like, hey, this show is going to move on whether you're part of it or not. Either jump on the fucking train or get off. We'll just move on. So that's what keeps them rolling forward, in the up direction, by the way. So
it's a strange occurrence when you see that John, hired Richard Shafer, brings him as a consultant advisor. In the fact that Richard Shafer is very smart about the pay-per-view world. He really is, because he set up some of the biggest pay-per-views there ever was, with De La Hoya being a boxer and some of the fights that they did. But, like I said, pay-per-view world is changing, and there's not a doubt in my mind that Richard Shafer is absolutely up to speed on the differences and the changes. And maybe he can, create a situation or put something in there that would make John feel comfortable about something in the back end that he gets, or something like that Dana would be okay with. I just look at everything, and the fact that Dana doesn't like De La Hoya, Richard Shafer at this point really doesn't like De La Hoya, so they have some common ground. But there is a real difference. De La Hoya was the face of Golden Boy, just like Dana was the face of the UFC. Lorenzo Fertitta is the guy that pulled all the strings. He was the one making the decisions behind the curtain, did not want any of the limelight for that, put everything on Dana, had Dana do certain things that Dana did, that, push Dana forward, all that stuff. Great. Richard Shafer's the same thing. Richard is the Lorenzo Fertitta. He is the businessman. And being a businessman, he will go in there, and I'm not saying Dana's not a businessman now, he is, but he will go in there with a business plan as far as, look, we can do this, and he will have multiple legs on that plan of what he would like to see John getting, what he would like to do. We'll just see if Dana ends up, agreeing with the idea and thinking that it's a good thing for his promotion too, because he's the guy in charge of it.
Possibly. We'll see.
Yep.
What else you got?
Next one, we have another rematch. It was between John Jones versus Chael Sonnen, but this time it was on Twitter.
Oh, man. Like, we talk about this all the time. You said that DC wasn't up to the game when it came to the Twitter situation, and
No, he wasn't.
but Chael's like next level, man.
180, man.
Chael's is next level. He comes to trolling people and fucking with people. I mean, he'll do it to your face too in person. Like,
John needs to figure out, there's levels to everything. There's levels to fighting, right? And there's levels to trolling.
Yeah.
Chael is a professional fighter that is a professional troll. Mm-hmm. Chael will push your buttons. Chael will say things that other guys won't. Chael, you got to figure, he has a split personality. All right? There's Chael Sonnen from West Lynn that's, your neighbor. He's a great guy. He's a phenomenal guy. He's a great dad, man. He's a great husband. This is a guy that you want as a friend. And then there's Chael Sonnen, the American gangster, that is that personality. He's a dog. He will fuck with you. He will do everything he can to piss you off. He doesn't care. And you're going to lose that. He is fucking a world champion in the fucking talking game, okay?
Yeah.
John, you can't, just stay away from it. Why? You're falling into the trap. All right? Josh, do you not have people fucking sending you things all the time? Some of them you're so wonderful. Some of them you're the biggest dick in the world.
Yeah.
This happens if people, they're throwing something out to see if you'll bite. It's like fishing. Don't be a largemouth bass. Don't chomp down on it. Swim past it, dude.
The best part is when they do say something really rude, right? And I'll take a screenshot of it and I'll post it on my social media and I'll say, hey, give this guy a little bit of positivity and follow him and, send him positive vibes in his DM. I'll do that just like, to throw it out there. And then the guy will he'll send me another DM. Hey man, I was just, I just want to get your attention. They'll admit it. And
I know.
It's like, thanks for posting I'm like, you were talking shit. And I just posted it to get under your skin. I'm like, give this guy a follow. He needs a couple more followers. That's what his problem is. He's upset.
He's an unhappy fella.
Yeah, just let him be, man. Let him be. So it's funny. I mean, I just gotta have fun. John's gotta avoid those type of situations. Chael's done fighting. No desire to come back and fight. Once that all is said and done, he's just gonna talk shit to you. Just let it be, John.
And what are you gonna do?
Nothing.
I mean, you hold it. John lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Chael lives up in, you gonna travel up there to get in a fight?
No.
Come on. It's just like, stop. And the tweet,
Chael.
Whenever you delete a tweet, you're saying something. You wrote something, you put it out there, and then you delete it. You're saying something. Just telling you.
Yeah.
Stop.
Chael cracked me up. He's like, hey, I can see your career's falling apart. Why don't you come to Sug? I got $5,000 for you waiting. Contract's ready to be signed.
We gotta figure
that
John did compete in the Submission Underground 4 champ.
Yeah, that's funny. So I got your
He
$5,000.
did against Dan Henderson.
Come get it. I got your $5,000. I'm like, started laughing. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's brutal. All right, buddy, what else you got?
I got a question. Are you guys saying it was a 10-8 Sonnen?
No, 10-8 Sonnen. It was 10-8. He won that round 10-8. It could have been a 10-7 if you really want to calculate it properly.
I don't know. Was it overwhelming?
Man, it was probably a 10-8.
10-8.
This is where we need the half rounds.
Domination.
This is where we need the half round scores.
Half points.
Half points.
We're gonna start.
All
We're
right.
gonna start bringing up the half points and just killing people with it till the point where it changes.
No, that'd be nice.
All right, last one for news today. Kevin Holland working on his wrestling with DC.
Okay. I was just down at DC. DC's opening a new great facility, 10,000 square foot wrestling facility for kids, youth. They can wrestle all year round. Yeah, down in Gilroy. It's actually connected to one of our old fighters. His name was Anthony Figueroa. They call it Ant Dog's Place. He's got a good kids program in terms of MMA, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, all that. And so those kids in that area, it's predominantly like a Mexican area, and so there's a lot of really phenomenal wrestlers and hard working kids that are coming out of there. Just phenomenal. Their wrestling program is one of the best in the nation. And
He's turned Gilroy High into a power.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was already kind of that way before. They were good, but yeah, I would have to agree with you. He's keeping it the status quo. He's keeping it the way it should be. And now that he's opening that, it's huge 10,000 square foot facility. It's got bunk beds, and rooms up above for fighters that want to come, or athletes or wrestlers that want to come and and wrestle, in the off season. They can stay there, He's got like a full juice bar going in. I mean, the rent down there is extremely cheap. The place has been vacant for years, and it's going to be a good little spot. The way he's got it all laid out, he's got squat racks here, turf here. It's going to be nice, and I'm pumped for him. He was giving me the full walkthrough. It was all still just dirt and shit, but it was but he had it all laid out. He knew exactly what he wanted. He built the platform for the wrestling mats, with little foam pieces underneath it. It's a little bit softer, and he's ready, man. He's pumped. He's ready for it. And I think what it also does, too, is that it brings in a lot of the top wrestlers around the world, around the nation, whatever, to come train at his facility or coach, and gives them a place to train as well if they need to get ready for something outside of their norm. And you've got Kyle Kretschmer there. Ed Ruth can go back and forth. You've got Deron Wynn there.
I don't think
Ed's
going that far.
There. What's that? Oh, Ed will be back and forth. I know Ed will be, and they're pretty close. And they're all managed by the same guys. But yeah, it really comes down. There's a lot of good. Kyle Driscoll. He wrestled at University of Oklahoma. I mean, they can all come in and wrestle and teach and do all the things. They've got a couple other guys there. What's his name? Nick. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's from Oklahoma State. He beat Spencer Lee his junior year. I think his senior year. Nick Piccinicki, or I can't pronounce his last name. It's Piccinni. I don't know how you say that. And then there's another guy. I just met him the other day. His name's Jacoby, I believe, is what his name was. But he's pretty damn good as well. So there's a lot of good, talented wrestlers that DC's got connections with, and a lot of ones that are waiting for their wrestling career to be over so they can come down and start making a fighting career. So I'm pretty pumped for him. I'm happy for him, and it'll be DC's wrestling program. So good on him. What are we talking about?
Kevin Holland.
Kevin Holland's a good ad, though. I didn't know what else to say. Kevin Holland's a good ad, man. I mean, look, it's good. He needs that. It's funny. I actually had Fabian Edwards reach out to me and say, hey, can I come out to AK? And I said, well, let me take a look around, but I think so. My only concern is that I train him is Romero Cotton, and they're both in the same weight class. So that's a little bit of a dig. But the other thing as well, look, there's no one to say that they're going to have to fight each other right off the bat. And a lot of things change within a year or two. So if you guys come and you guys train together for a week and a half, 2 weeks, you guys go back. By the time you guys actually fight, a lot of shit's going to change. At least it should. You guys should have gotten a lot better, and your game plan should have got a lot tighter, and your technique and everything. So, yeah, that's something, though. That's don't worry about that type of shit. When you guys go, you should go and train and wrestle and grapple or do whatever it is with everybody. That's my take on it. At least you have a good idea of where they stand and who they are. And you can move on and you can get better from there. You guys are just going to help each other get better. That's it. So,
well, you got to figure. Well, take a look at, when you say Fabian Edwards, same as Kevin Holland, there's guys out there where you look at them and they're so good in a specific area, but their wrestling is their weakest spot, so someone can put them in an area that they can be controlled, and they can, time just goes by. They can't use the tools that they're so good at based upon they're being controlled by someone. So, it's, Joe Rogan said it long ago. I kind of believe it's true. MMA started with jiu-jitsu, but wrestling became the skill set that you had to have, because once guys understood how to stop submissions, be a good defensive submission fighter, and use punches to break somebody down that was good with submissions, wrestling became the tool. Mark Coleman, the godfather of ground and pound, man, the hammer. I ruined his career is the way I look at it, based upon when I took headbutts out of the rules, make people happy. Look at Mark Coleman used to grab both of your arms. He would take you down the double leg, grab both your arms, and he would sit there and take his large melon and smash you in the face until you had to try to get your hand. He would punch you. He had a great system. That's why he was called the godfather of ground and pound. But the ground and pound kind of changed and stuff. But it's wrestling is a huge part of MMA and always will be.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think Kevin Holland, he needs to clean it up. It's not going to get done within a month long. He's gonna have to really make it a focus to get it changed. I don't know if he's gonna stay for a camp or if he's gonna be here for a couple months. I don't know what his game plan is, but I think making sure that wrestling is a focus is key.
Well, I think the thing you really need to look for Kevin Holland is not, what he's going to do in his next fight. That's not going to change much. What's he going to do a year from now? What's he going to be doing 2 years from now? So, good luck, Kevin.
Q&A?
Good luck, Kevin. Yeah. All right, Gian, we're going to do some fan Q&A for you guys to get you guys off on a positive note for the Memorial Day
weekend.
So let's go. Oh, wait. One last thing. Before we get to the Q&A, go to mybookie.ag, use the promo code, weigh in.
Was that mybookie.ag?
Mybookie.ag. Yep, you heard it here first. Mybookie.ag. Promo code is what, John?
Promo code and still.
No, weighing in, dude.
I did not say I was joking.
Jeez,
Come
John.
on.
John,
put it
come
like
on,
that.
man.
Come on. No,
Jeez.
our promo code for MyBookie is weighing in. You know what the podcast is. Put it in
he
there.
remembers a lot of things, but not promo codes. He remembers a lot of things. He can tell you who fought at UFC 4 in like the second match on the main card, but how that person won in what minute, but he can't remember promo codes. All right. Hey, so go there. Also, too, the playoffs have been fired. Your Nashville Predators got eliminated last night.
Just so you know. Oh, hey. Keith Hackney and Joe Son.
There you go. See
I'm not kidding. That was the second fight of UFC 4.
Jeez. That's crazy to me.
Your
Nashville Predators, they got eliminated last night from the playoffs.
They did. But, dude.
Yeah, in overtime.
Wait, hold on. When we were talking about my book, I said the one thing you want to do if you're going to bet on the NHL, bet overtime. Right?
Yes.
Did it not go to overtime?
Yes. It went to overtime. Barely. It did barely go to overtime. But Nashville was killing it going into the overtime. They were killing it going into the overtime. And then they just they came out flat. They came out flat, froze up a little bit, and
all right.
Carolina said, all right, let's put a
stop
on his ass. Team. They are. They're not making it to the finals, though.
Nah.
They're not making it to the finals, though.
Tampa Bay.
I think it's the Islanders.
Really?
Yeah, the Islanders, man. They're fucking on fire. All right. Yeah, you're a tap. Yeah, just because Nashville's out there, you're just,
How's those Capitals doing?
To win. Oh, you shush. You shush. Like Rogan would say, you shut your whore mouth. All right. Let's go ahead, buddy. What you got for us?
First one is...
Make sure these questions are dense. They're all just consolidated. I don't want these big, big, long thing. Yeah.
Abbreviate.
Consolidate it all.
All right. So first one is from Miguel from Chicago. He says, Mr. McCarthy, I'm a big fan of yours mainly because of your commitment to everything you take on. My question.
You could have not said that. You could have just said the damn question. See?
All right. My question for you is, what job do you think you would fail at because you conquer everything you do, and it seems like you can do anything you can dream of, and you're a great family man on top of that? Is there a job?
Why are you reading all that? Just read the fucking question.
Keep going. Just keep going, John. This is a great question.
You're feeding this guy's ego. Look how big his head already takes up 3/4 of the screen. Let's move on.
No, basically, his question is he want to know if there's any job that Big John would fail at because.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
how many jobs would I fail at?
He couldn't
Marathon
run.
runner. Marathon runner, I would fail at. Absolutely. There's one. Running coach. Man, I'll tell you. The one thing that throughout my life, the one thing I knew is I was not good at staying inside and being I could never be an accountant. I could never be an accountant. I couldn't do that job.
Yeah.
God bless the people that do. I would screw it up. I would screw up the numbers because I would look at something and then look at it again and just do it completely opposite. I need to, I can write stuff out, but numbers and things like that, yeah, you're going to just start to, I can do math, but if I'm doing a long list, I'm done. That and figure skating coach. I would not do well as a figure skating coach. So those two things. But thanks for the question.
Man,
I appreciate
I'd love to
the nice
see
words,
you.
man.
Could you be a high diving coach?
Yeah, because I'm not afraid of heights. I have
No,
problem
but I'm
with
just saying, I'd love to see you do all the little spinning and pirouettes off of the board. Big,
You see him dig a hole.
Yeah.
You don't pirouette with this type of body, dude.
Yeah.
You just fall.
Your body, I've heard you say a couple times your body is a temple. I can see that. It's very nice.
Temple, baby.
All right, buddy. What's next?
Our next one is for both. This one is from, his name is Just Some Guy.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys make of Valerie Loreda's corner after the second round? I've seen mixed takes. Dan Hardy was especially critical of her corner.
I don't know what her corner. Oh, excuse me. I don't know what her corner said. What did her corner say?
Hold on, I got a drink. You yawned.
Yeah, I don't know what her corner said, so I couldn't tell you. But the bottom line is that she was winning the fight. I don't think she did anything. Like was it 1-1? I think it was 1-1 going into the third.
Going into the third.
Yep. Yeah, but I mean, like she was doing well. She was just slowing down, so she needed to stay on her bike, and she didn't do that. She stood directly in front of her, and John called it during the commentary. She just keeps backing straight up. So when
which is a fundamental mistake young fighters make.
Yeah, so when she's known for her lateral movement, she's known for that. Problem is, though, is when you're on your bike as much as she is, it's hard to do that for 3 to 5 rounds straight. And and she started getting tired. And when she started getting tired, she started backing straight up. And when you start backing straight up, it's not good. And so that made it easier for Hannah Guy to get the takedown. And when she got the takedown, it was all over from there. She was able to do a lot of work and do a lot of damage. And it progressively built up. She tried to tweak her. I think she broke or she strained something, a ligament, I think is what I saw. Yeah. She's walking around in a cast right now. Yeah, so but I have to agree with what she said. And this is what I wanted to know also is she a real fighter? And she fucking proved she was a real fighter. She's a dog, man. She was someone that gritted it all out. She didn't want to lose. She didn't want to lose her O. I got to give her credit, man. There's a lot of people will say, a lot of fighters about female fighters, which is very unfair to them. Are they just a pretty face? Are they a fighter? Well, I think she answered all those questions. No, I think that's and it's not a fair assessment of all these female fighters. That's the first thing that they want to say. Oh, can she fight though? Sure, she's good looking or she's hot or whatever it is that people at home on the couch say. But can she fight? Well, I mean, she can fight, and not only can she fight, but she's a dog, and she'll fight through shit. And that to me was the one thing that impressed me the most. Sure, she didn't get the win, but I mean, you can't be mad at fighters like that. Like, if I'm a promotion, I'm sitting back going, she's got it all. She just needs more time. That's really what it comes down to. If I'm a promotion, I'm like, 3 or 4 more fights, she's going to be a completely different fighter. Let's go. And I think a loss might have been good for her at this moment. Better early now, get it done out of the way, come back and get the win. She's got to grow from here, and I think she will.
Yeah, I agree with you completely on it. I looked at it and I go, she proved that she's a fighter. She's tough because she was in some bad spots and never gave up. There's always that opportunity when you're in a bad spot to say, "Oh, I'm going to get out of here." That's part of the sport, and it's a good part of the sport. But do you use it? Sometimes you wish someone did, but when they show that, I'll fight through this, man, it's telling you they're a real fighter. I do not know exactly what was said because we listened to both corners as far as, I'll pick a corner to listen to. And I will tell you that Valerie won the first round. So I didn't listen. I was listening to Hannah Guy's corner based to see what they're going to tell her. And if I think it's right as far as what she needs to do in the next round. So I don't know, but I will tell you this. And I have a ton of respect for Dan Hardy. I don't know what he said, but Mo Lawal was in Valerie Loreda's corner. And I think that Dan Hardy is a very, very technical technician as far as breaking down the game of MMA. He is a super, super high IQ when it comes to it, but so is Mo Lawal. I will tell you, Mo Lawal's got a super high IQ when it comes to the sport of MMA. So, sometimes when you're looking at a coach, a couple of things. Coach sometimes has to know when to bring somebody down, calm them down, make it to where, hey, we've been here before. Take your time. This is what I want you to do. You calm your fighter down. Things aren't going well for him, so you calm down. Sometimes you got to pump them up. Things aren't going well for them, and they're just not doing. You got to kind of be that cheerleader, that person that kicks them in the ass. Sometimes it's all about X's and O's. But the one thing I will tell you is this, and I don't care how good a coach you are. You could be Greg Jackson. You could be, a Dan Hardy, a Mo Law. You could be anybody out of these, Javier Mendez. It doesn't matter. You're not going out there. The fighter is.
Yeah.
And if they don't do what you say, it really doesn't matter. It's no different than, if you look at football, you could be you could be the Bill Belichick. What happens when you don't have Tom Brady? Oh, things change. I don't care how good of a coach you are. If you don't have the players in the game, you're going to lose. All right. Well, same when it comes to a coach in MMA. You could have the greatest game plan. You could know exactly what your fighter needs to do, but you cannot make them do it. They've got to do it. So.
Yeah, but then I've also had conversations with not just Bob Cook, but Javier and every other coach that I've ever worked for. Like, it really is a feel thing. If your coach is telling you to do something and you just feel like it can't be done, you've got to make adjustments though as well. You've got to make those adjustments what your capabilities are at that moment in the cage. Like, I'll give you an example. Austin Vanderford and Fabian Edwards. He had nothing. There was not a whole lot he could do. He said he had popped one of his ribs coming out to the third round, and so when that happened, he's like, it just felt like every time I twisted and tried to get up or get back to my feet, he's like, I just couldn't do it. And I couldn't push him off me because he was so strong. So there's a lot of things that, like your coach is yelling at you, but you're also like, hey, my ribs popped, and I've had, like, when I fought Pat Healy, I broke two of my ribs and my sternum with the very first takedown, which was like less than a minute into the fight. The rest of the fight was a lot harder because I just couldn't get deep breaths. I couldn't do a lot of lifting. I couldn't pull and defend. I couldn't sprawl, any type of pressure on my chest. It was painful, man. Everything was painful. You've got to make those adjustments. Same thing with the Benson fight. Tore all the ligaments in my thumb, all that stuff. And just couldn't grab anything. My thumb was flopping around. You've got to make the adjustments. Maybe you win, maybe you don't, but it's not always whatever your coaches tell you. You've got to try and do the best you can to do it. But even when they tell you, they're not the ones in there, like you said. They're not the ones in there fighting, and what your body can do at that moment, depending on what injuries you've sustained so far throughout the fight. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what her corner said, but I felt like she was fighting a good fight. She was just getting tired from all the grappling, so she needs to make those adjustments in training though as well.
And this is the one thing that people aren't giving any kind of credence to. She's a young person. She's a young fighter. She doesn't have a ton of experience. Yes, she's grown up in the world of Taekwondo, but it's different. And so to expect her to do everything right, it's not going to happen. She's got to learn how to do things right.
Yeah. All right, what else you got?
Next one is from Timothy. This one is for Big John. He says, what is the dirtiest fighter you ever reffed? Or just the fight with the most cheating from one person?
You better not fucking say Josh Thompson.
Josh Thompson was such a cheating son of a bitch.
Jeez.
Oh, man, if there's so many guys out there that do things. I had a fight, and I'm not going to say the names. Josh Appelt was the guy it happened to, but he was fighting someone. You can go and you can look at it. Was in a Bellator, and it was a fight where he was able to control the position. His opponent thought he was going to be able to out wrestle Josh. It really didn't happen. He was able to put him against the cage and take him down when he wanted. He used the cage to clinch and to dirty box and just do damage. And he wasn't hurting his opponent. He was frustrating him. He frustrated him to the point where finally the opponent is in a position and he sees, he's on his knees with his hand down to the ground and Josh is riding over the top of him. See, there's that name, Josh. And he decides, I'm just going to take and hammer fist his nuts. And then he goes, as soon as it happened, right? He goes, bam, bam. He goes 2 shots and Appelt goes down, right? And I stop it right away. And I go, what are you thinking? I didn't mean that. That was his first words. I go, yep. I got kids that tell me that same bullshit all the time too. Right? And so you'll get those. Chael Sonnen was a guy. I'm going to tell you right now, Chael pushed the envelope of being legal.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Bisping was fighting Chael, and Bisping was like, John, it's legal. He can use his head that way, Mike. So Mike started doing the same thing back to him. Everything that Chael would try to do, Mike would do it back, and he kind of got caught up in that. And it might be why he lost the fight, but there are guys that ride the edge of legal all the time, and you're going to get those. Yeah. And that's you just watch them. You tell them, hey, I'll let you run up to the edge. I will not let you cross it. So There you go.
Chael was definitely one of them.
Oh, he would ride the edge, man.
He's the first guy that came to my mind.
Yep.
What made it worse about him is when he would tap and then he would say he didn't tap.
Oh my God! All he did.
He'd done that a couple times.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh, that
Even
was
the smaller organizations.
Hold it. Not only would he say that he didn't tap, he would have a fight. His fight with Tito. I love that one. Because he fought Tito, and there's a motion in there, same as you saw with I'm trying to think of. We're trying to say that Caitlin Chikigian was tapped, right?
Yeah.
No, she didn't tap. She's trying to reach her hand. There's a difference, and you can see it. Well, Tito has a moment in the fight where it looks like his hand kind of moves. It's not a tap. But he didn't even use that. He used that when he caught Tito in the guillotine choke, that Tito verbally tapped, right? He verbally tapped, right? And he goes, and John McCarthy missed it, right? So I see him, a couple of months later, right? And I said, hey, you need to do me a favor. If you're going to put something out there, tell me, hey, John, I'm going to say this. I know it's bullshit. I go, but, I'm trying to get a rematch. I said, I'll let it go. I don't have a problem with that. I go, but you got to at least make it believable. And he goes, what do you mean? It was believable. He goes, I said that he tapped and you missed it. And I said, yeah, you had him in a guillotine choke. How does someone talk when they're being guillotined to the point that they have to tap? Hey, he goes, good point. And I'm like, come on, Jill, come up with something that's good, dude. Right? So,
oh, man.
He's awesome.
Oh, man. All right, buddy, what else you got?
Next one is for Josh. Stephen Nathan says, Rockhold has been doing media rounds lately, and I can help to think how socially awkward he sounds in all interviews. In your experience training at AKA with him, can he come off that way in real life?
No, because when he's talking with his friends, he doesn't have to think anything up. He's just talking. And no, it just takes more time being in front of the cameras, doing whatever it is he's got to do. But no, he's not socially awkward. Yeah, I feel
come
like
on, Josh, say it, baby.
No, he
Let's
just feels. I think he wants to create hype, and I don't think naturally it comes off. It doesn't come off genuine.
Clean.
Like he wants to create the hype to make it, to make people have interest in him fighting. And when it doesn't come off genuinely, then it comes off a little weird. Look, Luke's a good guy. Like I always compare him to my little bigger brother. Like he's my bigger little brother. Sorry, there you go. Bigger little brother. I mean, like he's
your Fabian
someone
Edwards,
that I've
Leon
just,
Edwards.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think you say that. Yeah, but he's just, I don't know, if you saw a picture of the two of them next to each other the other day, I was like, good God, they're actually not that much in difference in size. Leon's leaner, but Fabian's like only probably an inch or maybe an inch taller. A little bit more, maybe, but not much. Oh, anyways, Rockhold's a good guy. He's a good kid. Like I feel like he's on track now. I think, like I said, he needed time away from the sport. He needed to figure out where he wanted to be. Did he want to be in Florida? Did he want to be in Santa Cruz? Did he want to be at AKA? I think he's found a home for himself down in the Costa Mesa area there. He's staying, him and a buddy got a place and they're staying there, and the two of them are, and his buddy's a really a big businessman, kind of thing. He stays very professional. I think the two of them have a lot of fun together in terms of, their scenes are the similar friends. And he can train at Ruka, and Pat loves him. Pat Tenore loves him. And, and he's out there. Bisbing and him now are kind of training side by side, just in fun, and I think it's good for him to get that kind of, there's that anger, I think, a little bit towards Bisbing as well as whatever else, and I think it's reset Luke's mindset. It's allowed him to just decompress. He's got skateboarding down there, which he loves to skateboard. He can surf if he wants. He's a phenomenal surfer. And he's got the gym that he wants, and he's training at the gym that of all the clothes that he loves to wear. It's kind of a win all for him. Everything.
Lots of winning going on here.
And he loves being that. I would imagine the women are hot down there. And I've been down there quite a bit, so all the women are hot. It's like it's a perfect scenario. It's a perfect storm for him to make a good comeback. He's with Perillo. Perillo's a great boxing coach, and I think the biggest thing that he needed to work on was his defense as well, is
Perillo's
not just delivering the shots.
Perillo's the first guy to break him down That's how Michael Bisping beat him. Perillo saw the holes in Luke's game and where he made mistakes, where he extended, where he was overextending at times. Perillo was a guy. So Perillo's a perfect guy to say, all right, we got to fix these holes.
And that's the thing. To me, I felt like it was always been his defense. I don't mind that your hands are down, but let's just make sure that when you throw, your other hand is up. Like, I don't mind your hands down here when you're on the outside, but when you get inside and you start throwing, let's get those hands back up. And then when you back out, hands got to be up as well. and that's always been his downfall. I think he's great at delivering the punishment, but defensively he's not great at blocking it or taking it. And so that was been the issue. I think him being with Perillo, it's a smaller gym. The Ruka gym has like a handful of athletes that come through there. Sure, there's a ton of them that come through, but none of them really stay. And the ones that stay get a lot more focus. And I think it's perfect. You got Chito Vera, which him and Chito, you can tell they've been connecting and they're fun to be around because they always are doing videos with each other and having fun with it. And then Bisping's there as well. So there's good looks. And Lorenz Larkin was there for a while, all working there. So I think it's a good facility for him to be at. He loves being around that type of those type of people. That's kind of like those are like his people. Like, it's perfect for him. And I'm happy for him, man. I think he can make a run. I'm not saying he can be champion. I'm just saying I think he can make a run. He's going to come back with a different mindset, and different personality. I think I see him making a run.
If he tightens things up, he can definitely make a run. He's an athlete. He's a way better athlete than people understand.
Especially if he uses grappling.
Look, his grappling is world class.
It is
not black belt. It's world class. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
He is phenomenal on the ground. His stand-up, dude, just watching him when he's practicing doing the question mark kick. You know how hard it is to frickin' throw that kick the way he does it and make it look like it's coming low and all of a sudden it's snapping up high? You know how hard it is to defend against it? Here's the thing with Luke. Luke is cocky. He is. Got a lot of things to be cocky for. Son of a bitch is a fucking model for who?
Ralph Lauren.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's got everything going for him. And when you're sitting on top of the world, you can be cocky. Then he kind of got knocked off the pedestal a little bit. He regrouped. He kind of took a look at himself, and he's like, all right, I don't need all that outside interference stuff. I just need a little bit. He was getting into the bigger things and buying things and stuff. It's all gone now. He's not doing that. I think he's in a perfect situation to come back. If you're noticing, no one wants to fight him. And the reason they don't want to fight him is, first off, he's not ranked. And they know that he's a mother to fight. He's got skills.
Yeah.
So why do I want to fight a great fighter that's unranked that's not going to do anything for me moving forward?
Yeah, that's true. All right, what else you got?
All right, next one is from Filthy Heathens. This one is for John. He says, "Do you think you could have won UFC 1 or 2 if you had been a fighter?"
I love when people ask those questions. It would take the ego of some certain people to say, "Oh yeah, I could have." No, look at I was where I was supposed to be. I was a training partner for Hoist, getting him ready for UFC 1. I had a blast doing it. We had nothing but fun. I got my ass kicked by Hickson and Hoist all the time. I absolutely have nothing but respect for everybody that went out there. Do I think maybe I could have won a fight? Maybe I could have won a fight. Do I think I would have won the whole thing? No, Hoist would have won it. And in the second one, Hoist would have won it. So I don't think that at all. I fell into and was given the gift of being a referee, the greatest gift. I would have been out of MMA so long ago. And because of the gift that I was given to be a referee, which I did not know how to be, but kind of, learned on the fly, I've had an unbelievable career in this sport that I'm still able to be part of. So I don't even think about those things and to say, oh yeah, I would have won. No, I wouldn't have won.
That's the first time your head shrunk a little bit.
I hate when people say, oh, I would have beaten him. Bullshit. Don't just say.
Yeah. No. Like, when we had that question the other day about Chandler, like, and I had to be honest. I'm like, I don't know. I would have said it'd be 50-50. It'd be 70-30 maybe him. Maybe it'd be 70-30 me. Maybe 60-40. Who knows? But at the end, that's why we fight the fight. But, I get what you're saying. All right, guys. What else?
Next question is from Nicholas Clark. This one is for both. The question is, if Bellator did a bantamweight tourney, should it be a 8-man or a 16-man, and who should participate?
We talked about this, last week? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
I think it was
2
last
weeks
week.
ago.
8 weeks. It should be 8. 8 people. It shouldn't be 16. We could stretch it to 16, but I think the 2 to 3 of them,
If you could make it 12, if you could
Yeah.
make it 12, Bellator would have just a fucking on fire tournament. You can't make it 12, and so you're going to end up putting probably 4 guys in there that you can look at and go, they ain't got a chance of hell of winning that. Where the 12, everybody in there, you could say he's got a chance. He's got the ability. So I would say make it 8. Go ahead.
And do you want one of those 4 that don't have a chance in hell to win it to potentially upset somebody that does? Like, I get there'd be a great story there, but then knowing that person doesn't have a chance, now you've lost one of your potential stars. You've got to look at those kind of terms too.
I don't even look at it that way. I look at that I've got all these guys, we'll say, fighting where, 8 of them have really tough fights, we'll say.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm giving somebody else, maybe the champ, I'm going to give them the easy fight just so they can go into the next round. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right.
That's true.
I think everyone
should
have that hard fight. Everyone should have to, go against someone that's real, someone that can win the tournament, and that's what makes winning that tournament special. No one was given anything. So I would go with 8.
That's true as well. All right, what do you got?
Next one is from Abimanu Ja. For Big John, how are referees selected for fights in an event, or is it just random?
How are referees selected for fights in an event? Well, we'll say the UFC or Bellator. If the UFC is going to, we'll say Vegas. They're going to stay in Vegas. That's their home base. Well, the Nevada State Athletic Commission has referees that are licensed by them. I had someone who asked me a question the other day is, did you really retire, or could you just go back anytime you want? Well, when you retire, it's like you stop getting licensed. You stop paying a licensing fee every year. You stop doing the medicals for it. You're licensed every year. That's what allows you to work in that state. Now, that State Athletic Commission will only grant so many licenses, and those are to people that they believe can do the job, that they're happy with the way they perform. So when you look at all of the officials, we'll say that are referees in the Nevada State Athletic Commission. So you're looking at Herb Dean, Mark Goddard, Jason Herzog, Mike Beltran, Mark Smith, Chris Taglioni, Keith Peterson, Dan Mirgalata. I may be missing somebody, but those are the guys. So now, as the athletic commission, they will decide who that they're going to assign to that show. So they'll call or send an email out to some of the guys and say, hey, are you available on this date? When the guys come back with it, they'll usually select about 4, and they'll say, okay, you're assigned to this show. So if it's July 10th, there's a show in Vegas with Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier. So we'll say that they assign Mark Goddard, they assign Herb Dean, they assign Jason Herzog, and I'll give you 2 more since they're the only guys that actually live in Vegas. We'll say that Mark Smith also gets assigned, and Chris Taglioni gets assigned. So we'll say there's 5. So they have those 5 guys, and they have 13 fights. Then the executive director or the assistant, being Jeff Mullen, will then go and say, all right, they'll break down the fights, and they'll start to put people in position of which fights they're going to do. If it's a championship fight in the state of Nevada, after they decide who they want to try to put there, then they will go before the athletic commission, and the athletic commission will either agree on their decision for the championship fight, who the officials are, or they will disagree and have them change it. Normally they agree. So that's the way it's done. If it's Bellator, and Bellator is the Mohegan Sun, it's going to be the Mohegan Sun Tribal Commission. That's run by Mike Mazzulli. He's going to be doing the exact same things. The only difference is he doesn't go before a commission as far as with the officials. He's the one that selects the officials. He's the one that puts them in that fight. He's the one that makes that choice.
Does the Bellator have a choice?
Sometimes
like with him?
Well, sometimes the promotion can got to figure. Mark Ratner is with the UFC. He's the vice president of regulatory affairs. With Bellator, it's Corey Shafer is the guy that kind of runs that position. And so they will look, and at times they will go and say, look, you put so-and-so in as a judge in this. I haven't agreed with, some of their calls. And last thing, can we switch one of these people in and out? And this is long before the fights occur. This is during the week of the show. And so the officials don't know what they're assigned to. The judges don't know what they're assigned to, and the referees don't know what they're assigned to until they get to the show, unless it's in Nevada and they do that commission meeting. Well, then it becomes public, so you'll know who the judges or the referee is for that fight. But the rest of the fights you won't know unless one of them is a championship fight. Only the championship fights does that come out. Other than that, you don't know what you're refereeing or what you're judging until you get to the show that night.
Got it. All right, buddy, 2 more.
Next one is from Lucas. He says, "Hi guys, what are your thoughts on the Khabib Shamzat situation, beef, and Kadyrov saying that Khabib is just a UFC product with easy matchups who would not last in ACA?"
Okay, no. Go ahead, Josh. You can talk about a dictator. Go ahead. Never. Once you say this, don't you ever go to Grozny. You're gonna be in trouble.
Look, I think a lot of the top fighters come out of ACA, ACB, whatever you want to call it. I think they're phenomenal athletes over there. And when I talk about that the UFC doesn't have all the best fighters, that organization is another organization that just proves it. Their fighters that come out of there fucking are animals. What, Peter Yan, Magomedov. I mean, there's been a lot of good fighters. I mean, little Usman,
guys they won't
little
let
Umar.
go.
Yeah, little Umar. I mean, there's a couple guys that they won't let go. That I know Bellator just tried to sign. They're like, nope, they're going to keep them because they're such big draws. And you don't want to be in debt to the people who run the organization. But I mean, overall, like their athletes are phenomenal. But do I think Khabib would win that organization? He would walk through it. Don't get me wrong, they're good, but they're younger fighters. The fighters are young, like a lot of them are younger. That's why they want to keep them until they hit the 28, 29 years old. Then they go ahead, look, I'll bring up the younger guy and let this guy go ahead and live his dream, whatever it is. But they're going to make as much money off of them as they possibly can and lock them down in contracts. So do I think Khabib would have? Yeah, I think Khabib would be the champion there. And as far as Chimaev and what he's saying, I don't know what I don't know where. That wasn't Chimaev. That was
Kadyrov. So whoa, stop. You're making a mistake here, brother.
Okay,
I know there was. That's Kadyrov, who is the leader of Chechnya, who has a big part in ACA.
Yeah,
this is a
I
leader of the country.
Remember that.
And
I
now
thought they were
backing
friends.
Chimaev. Oh yeah, yeah. If you see Khabib and you see him going winning fight, it's in Russia or anything like that, you see Kadyrov there. So.
Yeah, I think also too that Khabib's starting his own organization, so that might be what this is all about. Khabib's starting his own little small promotion for some of the younger fighters to fight on. So that might be kind of rubbing him wrong.
Which ACA has a program called Young Eagles.
Oh, so there you go. I mean, I don't know. So, I mean, I don't know the details, and I'm not trying to get involved because I want to live my life. But I got a lot of love for Khabib and respect for him and what he's trying to do.
Let's just be honest with this. Kadyrov is a politician. He's the leader of the country. He may not be always right. I won't say anything about that, but I'll tell you what, he's definitely wrong about this one because Khabib would beat anybody in the world. I don't care what organization. Khabib is the best lightweight in the world, no matter if he's retired or not now. You give him still another year, there's no one that's going to touch him. He is that good. He was that dominating. There's nobody in the UFC that can beat him, and that includes Edson Barboza or Dustin Poirier, who have tried. Not Edson, but Dustin Poirier did. And did I say Edson? Did I say Charles Oliveira? I've screwed up. Charles Oliveira has not fought Khabib, but it would not end well for him. He's the best fighter in the world. There's a reason why he was undefeated, 29-0. There's a reason.
And it wasn't just undefeated, just so dominant across
That's
the
the
board.
whole thing. Yeah.
That's like you were saying. Like, is John Jones probably the best fighter in the world? You could say yes, but he wasn't as dominant as Khabib was, and that's what the difference is.
Yep.
So, all right, last one.
All right, last one is from Aces Wild MMA. Big John, what was your favorite memory in the LAPD?
God, favorite one.
Were you there? Were you there in the '89 during the riots?
That was 92, so you know.
Oh, I thought it was '89. It wasn't. It was '92. Shit, what was in '89? Oh, the earthquake here in San Jose. Sorry, I was like '89 earthquake and '92. Yeah, there you go. Sorry,
That's all.
I know I was just no. I mean, it was a lot of commotion during both those years.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
My favorite memory of LAPD. Man, I had so many memories of good times, but there's a lot of sad times. There's a lot of one of the things that people need to realize about police officers. Police officers are people. They feel pain too. They have emotions. They see bad things. It's something some people can compartmentalize those types of things. Some people can't, and it's not an easy thing to live with sometimes when you see how mean and nasty people can be to each other. So the one thing I try to be kind, be nice to everybody, do your part to help someone if you can, because it's the one thing that I learned from LAPD. At the time when I was a police officer there, I was a young kid, and young kids are stupid, and they come in thinking I'm just going to arrest the world.
I was not. I was.
Yes, you
not.
were. Trust me, you were really stupid. I knew you when you were young.
Oh, Jesus, it was horrible.
But as time goes on and you see things, there was a lot of good times and a lot of funny things. And here I'll give you. Okay, you want to see how bad it was, but this is you would have families would fight, and you would have grandparents. I mean, old people that would be mad at each other. The husband and wife. I am tired of her. I am tired of him. I want to get away from. All right. We want a divorce. How long have you been married? 58 years. 58 years. You want a divorce, right? Yes, I want him out. I want him. He's ugly. He's mean. Okay. And so you would take your badge. All right. Put your hands on the badge. By the powers vested in me in the city of Los Angeles, state of California, I am hereby saying you're divorced. Now, if you want to come back after you've thought about this, you can, but I'm going to be coming back tomorrow to make sure that you want to make this legitimate, right? He would do things like that just to get people to calm down. And they would calm down and they would say, okay, so we're divorced. You're divorced for the night right now. Tomorrow, if you guys want to be back, it's all null and void. But right now, you're divorced. And you would do those things just to make, peace between people and just different things. And you learn how to handle people. So those were the kind of memories that they're fun because the people were good people. They had that night like we all have. And so you try to calm things down and they come back the next day and they're all happy, and I would always swing by. I'd always go by it back and just say, hey, how you guys doing? And they'd be back together and, oh, he's been so much nicer to me now. Good. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Oh, I can just imagine. I mean, I know there's been a lot of bad things that you've seen, not just you. I mean, like
horrible things.
Even as a child. Yeah, even as a child, I've seen a lot of bad things. I can't imagine being a cop and being around, especially in the LA area, and having to be around all of those things. But like you said, there's a lot of positive things to also take away from it. What you need is just calm people down. Once you calm them down, they realize, okay, look, I just overreacted. Don't let a moment of anger potentially affect the rest of your life. Yeah, and I've been caught in a couple of situations where it changed my life, and it changed. It could have been way worse, but it changed my life for the good.
Yep.
And I got lucky with the right judge though too. And I just to let you guys all like in on this little thing here, but just because we're getting into the Memorial Day weekend, when I say things like don't drink and drive, what I mean is I also mean like make sure that you guys just are smart about your situation. I was on a boat cruise one time and I got into a fight and I was drinking and I shouldn't have been drinking. And it was just, and I knew there was people on the boat. We were on a cruise. Where the fuck are you going to go? I knew that they were on there before we left. Or actually, right when we took off. I could have gotten off. I probably could have just jumped off the boat and just fucking swam to shore. That's how close we were. But I decided to stay on there, knowing that probably something was going to happen, and got in a fight, got in trouble, ended up going to jail and got in a lot of trouble. Ended up doing some time, about 6 months. And the bottom line is basically convicted of felonies. But I got lucky with the judge that gave me withheld judgment, so I completed my probation successfully, and all that came off my record. But had I not had that judge, I'd be sitting here in front of you guys with felonies, and just my life would have been different. The whole thing would have been different. And so you need to make sure that you make the right choices. Don't let a moment of anger or ego and those type of things affect you, because if it does, you could ruin your life for the rest of your life. Now, my circumstances would have been a little bit different. Being a fighter, no one gives a shit whether you have a felony or not. Promotions will still sign you. You know what I mean? So you can, but it's not something you want to live with, because after 40 years old, when you're done fighting, try to go get a job as a felon and a former fighter who has no real ability. You know what I mean? You know how to fight, you know how to communicate, you know how to talk, but you really don't know how to work the new Apple software and updates and all that stuff, because that's not what you did for 20 years. You know what I mean? So those are things that I have Gian and Podcast Dave for. You know what I mean? But these are things. Don't let choices. Don't let a moment like that affect your life for the rest of your life. Don't let a moment of
anger, passion change the way you're going to live your life forever. It's crazy. But it takes time to realize that and to figure it out.
Yeah, I want everyone to remember, like before we go into this Memorial Day weekend, is Uber is worth $40-$50. I don't care if it's $100. Just remember that. So I want to encourage everyone to make sure you guys don't drink and drive. Uber, Lyft. There's also Tesla Loop. There's tons of car apps, they can pick you up. And I'm going to just tell you now, $100 is worth it. I've had family members who have have drank and drive and have had some issues in that department, and that's not something you want to do. Once you get in the system, it's hard to get out. And so just be safe this weekend. Spend time with your family, enjoy the barbecue, and just remember our troops and the sacrifices they make. We want to thank you guys for listening. And Gian, thank you for filling in for Podcast Dave. Always a pleasure.
Of course.
And, make sure you guys go to prowrestlingtees.com/weighing in. Use the promo code ANDSTILL and pick up your Memorial Day shirt. If you guys can do that, please, that'd be great. Also, hit the subscribe button on YouTube.
Still.
Yeah, and still, there it is. You knew there was somewhere in there. You knew it was somewhere in there. All right, and then go to all of our audio platforms. Hit the subscribe button there as well. iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all of those platforms, and our YouTube channel as well. And hit that subscribe button. Hit the little bell. Some of you guys hit me up and said, hey, I hit the bell. That's why when the show dropped a little bit later than normal, you guys were able to listen to it and realizing like, hey, where's the show? Well, the show dropped a little bit later than normal. We had some issues, and we were trying to get them cleaned up for a little bit better of a listen for you, knowing that the audio wasn't what it should have been. But we want to thank you guys for being so loyal to us. And look, I think by the end of the weekend, we'll hit that 100,000, and we want to thank you guys for that as well. Please share our videos. Post the videos, tweet them out, and we'll retweet them, like them, whatever it is, and we appreciate it. Okay, guys? And John, what do you got to say before Memorial Day weekend?
Last thing I got to say is everyone out there, go have a good time. Spend it with friends and family. Enjoy yourselves. Be kind to each other. And do not get in trouble because it's not worth it. Walk away, but have fun, and we will see you.